Am I the asshole for yelling at my boyfriend to stop adding spice to my food? So recently I, female 30, have been staying over at my boyfriend's, 31 male, place more. We've divided up some chores, but one he likes to do is cook. He really is a wonderful chef and all our friends enjoy the dishes he brings to parties. Whereas I will admit I don't know my way around the kitchen and have never taken the time to really dive into it. This is fine since he cooks, but his meals usually include too much heat. He cooks with a lot of spices, sauces, and peppers. I've asked him time and time again to tone it down since I can't handle the heat. Or at least add those last so he can still have them but my dish will be fine. He says this will ruin the dishes and they won't come out as flavorful and be really lackluster. And that added the spice at the end ruins the whole balance of it. I finally snapped the other night and yelled at him to stop making hot dishes I can't eat and he told me that I was always welcome to cook my own meals if I wanted. I don't see why I have to cook if he already is making the meal, he can just add less spice to it. That will add so much more time to my night when he is already handling that chore. So am I the asshole for yelling at him after him adding spice too many times to dishes? Going rogue here. Not the asshole you share chores and your boyfriend does his in a way that doesn't benefit you or makes you do your own, negating whatever benefit you get from splitting responsibilities. Worse, your boyfriend doesn't care that you can't eat what he makes. He could certainly make some adjustments or make some meals you can eat. Redditors are incredibly inconsistent. There was a woman who only made soup for her family who hated soup. No one told her her family should do their own cooking. They also come down hard on people not respecting food allergies. If you can't stomach spicy foods and you live together and he is responsible for cooking, he should be more considerate and accommodating. If I were you, I'd think long and hard about this relationship. I'm with this comment, if the division of labor is done equally then he should take her palate into consideration. It sounds like he cooks for himself and she's an afterthought. Exactly, I do majority of the cooking at our place. My spouse does cook too but I'm home first and therefore usually make dinner. But since we're both eating and we both share the food bill we agree on what we're going to have for meals during the week so regardless of who is actually making it we both are going to enjoy it because we already decided on dinner. And if I want it spicy I ask ahead of time if he's okay with spicy tonight. Sometimes he says no and I just don't add it. I would just exclude the cooking as a chore. You both cook, and then split the rest of the chores evenly. Is that practical though? Most kitchens don't have room for two people to be cooking separate meals at the same time. Roommates make it work perfectly fine, often with more than two people. Like you said, roommates. Who probably don't eat together. Which means they're cooking at different times. Or are you suggesting a couple living together take turns cooking and then eat at separate times? Edit. Original poster is staying over often enough to divvy up chores, so she's basically living there. But even if she's not, the point is that they're a couple. As a matter of fact, factoring in the fact that she's not fully living there makes all these suggestions that they treat each other like roommates even stranger. This here, it's not reasonable. Greater than I don't see why I have to cook if he already is making the meal he is cooking the meal he wants to cook. If you don't want to eat the meal he wants to cook, that is your choice but you don't get to insist that he makes you a separate meal, and you may not realize it, but that is what you are asking him to do. It is a perfectly acceptable response for him to say you should make your own food if you don't like his. That being said, if he does the cooking as part of his share of the chores and he isn't making food that you are able to eat, then it should cease to count as a chore he gets credit for. Everyone sucks here. Just remove cooking dinner as something from the list of shared chores, divvy up the rest of the chores equitably, and each of you be responsible for your own meals. Greater than he is cooking the meal he wants to cook. But he's not, he's cooking the meal for the house as part of his chores. Would you hold the same stance if dad was making food too spicy for mom and their 12-year-old child every day if he is the one responsible for cooking dinner? I mean, it can be argued that a 12-year-old is capable enough to cook themselves a decent simple dinner. ETA. My point being, it makes no sense to dirty the kitchen twice for one meal if someone has volunteered to cook for the house. Honestly, it doesn't make sense for a couple living alone with similar meal schedules to dirty a kitchen twice per meal every day. Yes, I don't understand the comment you responded to. The original poster implied that he is doing cooking for both people as a division of labor. If you are making food the other people can't eat, you are not doing a good job. It's similar to putting cheese in everything when another person is lactose intolerant, because you like cheese. It's entirely possible for the cook to be more considerate, but they just don't want to. If I'm making dinner it's going to be something everyone can eat or plan ahead to make separate dishes. My husband and I like to eat later so I can cook them something like nuggets and us a meal they don't like at all. Everyone saying AITA has no idea how to cook with spices. Especially for chilies, they have to be added at a certain point in the cooking process so they heat and distribute properly. The taste changes during cooking, and it will actually change the taste of the entire dish to add it at the end. It's like trying to make a tomato sauce, but leaving out the tomatoes and then adding them sliced and raw on top at the very end. Ishish because you aren't communicating or finding a way to make sure you both eat something you like. You may need to redistribute the chores. If you can't find a compromise to meet both your needs, you might not be compatible. Edit. I just reread and you don't even live there and you're complaining about his cooking? Are you serious? Do whatever you did before you started staying over. You are the asshole. Mexican born and raised here. You can definitely adjust the heat when cooking with chilies in most dishes. But you're completely right about the lack of compromise. He doesn't have to cook spicy every time, and she cold makes something for herself when he does. Indian here. A dish tastes wholly different when spices are added at the end rather than at another stage. You need time for the dish to absorb in the flavors. We add green chilies to the hot oil and roast it sometimes for the right flavor. Food tastes different even when salt is added at different stages. I won't call either the asshole, or maybe they both suck because they need to better communicate. I'm torn on this. I have a mother-in-law who calls salt and pepper spicy. I cook things like spaghetti or baked chicken and she says, "Oh Lord. This is too hot to eat, it's ridiculous," and it drives me absolutely batshit crazy because I literally make the blandest food in the world when she's visiting. On the other hand, if your significant other is cooking super spicy Thai or Korean or whatever dishes with huge amounts of heat that would bother a normal person and just asking you to eat them and deal, then I understand your point. So which one are you? I need not enough information. Edit. I am going to leave my original language above, because I realize I made a mistake in verbiage in speaking too quickly, and I don't believe in editing to cover it up. I didn't mean to offend by using the word normal in my last paragraph. I apologize to everyone I've offended by using this word. I typed this post out very quickly and in haste and I didn't expect it to blow up. I simply meant super spicy Thai or Korean or other dishes that may bother someone not used to eating things with extreme heat. My apologies, heartfelt. Yeah, this really can go both ways with a huge difference in the tone. I literally had a boyfriend previously who knew I can't eat spicy food because of a medical condition. He made ridiculously spicy food at his friend's place, that I was supposed to eat as well. When it was obviously too spicy, he just laughed and the conversation went something like this: "Friend, why did you make the food so hot when you know your girlfriend doesn't like spicy food?" Boyfriend: "Actually it's a medical condition, smiley face." Friend: "Really nice, dude. Yeah, there's some range in this topic. Deliberately ignoring someone's diet preferences, capabilities can even go into the abuse territory under some circumstances. Hard to tell what the situation here is without more info. By the way, I wonder if your mill might also have a medical condition that affects the mucous membranes and makes certain spices damage her mouth, but she just hasn't made the connection. Maybe not, but thought to make the suggestion just in case. This. I have this and I'm so tired of people telling me I'm a baby or I'm racist. Because I cannot eat spicy food. I have tried my entire life to eat spicy food. The hottest thing I can handle is the taco sauce from Trader Joe's. And even that requires a lot of drinks to wash it down. Anyway, you're not alone here. That's because a lot of Americans, not necessarily you, but generally speaking, will call any foreign food spicy, and refuse to eat it even if it's the blandest food imaginable. I can cook my mill chicken broth and rice soup and she'll eat it just fine, but the instant I call it TTEOKGUK, it's suddenly too spicy. What am I supposed to think when that happens? Lol. It's not just Americans. I'm American and love spicy food and food from other cultures. When I got an exchange student from Germany, she arrived thinking pepper was too spicy. I definitely expanded her palate. Not the asshole. The chores have been divided up and one of his is cooking. Saying, do your own, cooking is like if you just hoovered your side of the room, or only did your laundry etc. What's the point of splitting up chores at that point? What if you were vegan and he kept making meat dishes? Then he'd be the asshole, but now people are saying YTA when the result is the same, you can't eat what he makes. And as someone who likes very spicy food but has a family that can't handle spice at all and a boyfriend who can't have as much as me, I'm telling you it is not difficult to just separate the portions and just not make theirs spicy. He's just being lazy and inconsiderate and the excuses he gave were complete BS. That's what I'm not getting about all these "you are the asshole" responses. Like they split chores and his chore is cooking, so why does he only cook for himself? What if she was vegan or gluten intolerant? Would she still be ta? I'm neurodivergent, so I'm hypersensitive to a lot of things, and spice is one of them. I cannot eat spicy stuff, even just a little bit of chili or something, because it hurts. Original poster is not the asshole in my eyes. Legit, if that's the chore you're doing, then do it. That's how chores are split. She'd be considered the asshole if she didn't do her half of the chores, so why is this okay for him to do? He's not doing her a favor by doing the chore he chose. And I totally agree, if she were vegan or allergic and he kept making stuff she couldn't eat, then everyone would say he's toss, so why when she can't eat spicy food is that okay? All the YTA comments are so weird. If you have to cook your own meal, then what's the point of splitting the chores? What chore will he be picking up to make up for the fact he can't be considerate of your preferences? Not the asshole. This is just inconsiderate, plain and simple. I would never continuously cook foods I know my spouse can't handle eating. Seriously, it seems like all of the Y votes are people who specifically ignored the point that this was a chore division. It seems like all the "you are the asshole" votes are people who clearly have never had a healthy relationship in their lives. You're supposed to give extra care for your partner. It's how it works. Op's boyfriend is a dingus. Greater than he really is a wonderful chef, but, apparently, he can't cook French or Italian food. Or any of the multitude of cuisines worldwide that don't involve spice. Even then, chili is still chili, even if it isn't burn your face off spicy. My girlfriend is a bit of a Wendy when it comes to spice, so I don't cook Thai food. If we order Indian takeout, we order something milder for her and something spicier for me. I order food I know she will like. Greater than he says, less spice, will ruin the dishes orly? I'd say having a meal I can't share with my girlfriend would ruin the dish even more. Or is this one of those, I can eat the spiciest foodivar? Dick waving things? The only way I, and my girlfriend, could see you being is if you're too picky, if ketchup is too much for you. Otherwise totally not the asshole. Edit to add. In response to the many people claiming the spices need to be in from the beginning. Bullshit. That's for flavor. There are plenty of peppers, frecks, that add similar flavor without heat. And if you want spicy, look at Thai food. Every recipe I've seen says to adjust the number of peppers to adjust the desired heat. Do you want it hotter? Serve a dish of sliced peppers on the side, like the Thai do, and add them as you want. FFS in a relationship, compromise is not a dirty word, and adjusting your recipes is not gay, or whipped. BTW original poster. What sort of food does boyfriend cook? I'm interested what he makes that absolutely requires white hot spice, cause if it's not Thai or British Indian then I'm not impressed. Exactly. It's an asshole move to cook for both of you, but knowingly make food you know the other person can't eat, and then just go, well, make a sandwich for yourself if you can't handle it. If original poster was vegan and the boyfriend would refuse to cook food she could eat because not using real ingredients ruins the recipes, and would insist on putting butter and cream and meat etc. in everything during the nights when he's supposedly cooking for them both, but not anyone else, I bet everyone would be calling him a shit boyfriend. But now because it's spiciness level, original poster is picky. Nah, if someone's not used to heat, the food becomes straight up painful and inedible, and there's zero flavor to be sensed, only pain. Not the asshole original poster. Take the hint. You've repeatedly asked him to accommodate you in this rather small way. He refuses and stubbornly keeps making meals, for both of you, that you can't eat. It says something about him. It's his way or the highway, and he expects you to be the one to bend, change and accommodate around him, while he refuses to change anything about the way he likes things. Greater than if original poster was vegan or only ate halal or kosher. If you don't like bacon sandwiches, feel free to cook your own meals, or had an allergy, I can't have my linguine without shrimp, or was trying to manage their weight, you have to deep fry chicken, or any of a million other reasons to ask your partner to consider you when planning, cooking meals. Not the asshole. I think there are a lot of YTA comments because people feel superior for liking spice, kind of the way people get about rare steaks. He's right that it's not the same if he adds in the spice at the end. But cooking for both of you is one of his chores, part of the division of labor. If it's too spicy for you to eat, then he's not cooking for you, he's only cooking for him. He shouldn't be so selfish as to be cooking dishes that you literally cannot eat most of the time. However, you really need to learn your way around the kitchen. That's a skill everyone should have, and you shouldn't be depending on other people's cooking for your own meals. But depending is different than, that's his chore. I think that if he insists on cooking spicy dishes, you should ask him to inform you about that when he starts cooking, so you have time to prepare your own meals. And then rebalance the chores, because he's not doing the cooking, if he's only cooking for himself. I think you're right on the money. A lot of people are making the assumption she only likes bland food too. We don't even know how hot it is, it might be too much for most people. And I'm saying this as someone whose family has nicknamed them asbestos mouth because of how hot some of the dishes I eat are. If I'm cooking, I always make sure I either make a dish everyone likes, or do multiple versions. Sometimes that means having 2 pots and adding the ingredients to both as I go. There are a lot of dishes I don't like and a lot of dishes my other half doesn't like, and we generally reserve them for when we are eating out. Yeah, there's also a huge difference between spic S and spic Y. There are many ways to make a dish super flavorful without spiciness. And when it comes to spiciness, it's not the same as, just don't prefer the flavor. If a dish is too spicy for someone, they can't eat it. It's an unpleasant and uncomfortable feeling. And it can also cause some bad GI distress for people who aren't used to it. My partner and I both cook, and when it's our night to cook, as in, it's understood we're doing the cooking for both of us, we make sure to make dishes that don't conflict with the other's dietary restrictions and dislikes. I love mushrooms, but my wife hates them. So when I cook, I make a separate batch without the mushrooms. My wife loves super spicy food, and although I'm not opposed to heat, I am but a humble fire eater, while my wife drinks magma from the Earth's core. She makes a smaller batch on the side without the magma. I don't see why he can't do the same. He absolutely could, he just does not want to. I had a roommate who could not handle pepper or even small amounts of paprika, and we made it work. I added spices later, or if they were absolutely essential to the dish, I provided something to dull out the heat, like sour cream for chili, a mint yogurt sauce for Indian dishes, etc. It is really not that hard to compromise or adapt your cooking if you put in minimal effort. And if there are dishes where it is absolutely necessary for them to be prepared spicy, he could just eat it on a day she's not staying over. Not the asshole. If this is one of his divided chores that he cooks for both of you, then he needs to cook food both of you can eat. This is where I am. If they've divided chores and meals is considered a chore, he shouldn't be cooking to his tastes alone. Everyone sucks here. Sounds like y'all aren't compatible. Yeah, I was going to say if I had to eat bland, flavorless or poorly spiced food for the rest of my life to stay with someone, I'd have to really, really like them. More than I've liked most of the people I've ever dated, that's for sure. Just because it's not spicy, that doesn't mean it isn't flavorful. I'm sure he can make it good without giving it heat. If he's half the cook he thinks he is, this should be very easy. Heat isn't the only flavor profile. Not the asshole. You've divided the chores, he picked this one. Imagine if he had a reaction to bleach and asked you to stop mopping with it. If you kept mopping with bleach knowing he could not go into the kitchen without his eyes watering and having a reaction, you'd be the asshole if you said, I mop with bleach and if you don't like it then you can mop it yourself. So I think he's being inconsiderate. Simply stop contributing to the food budget, since he is making the food inedible for you, and provide your own food. Be clear that what you have purchased is not for his use. Then dump your least favorite chore on him since he is not contributing fairly. Not every meal has to be spicy, even for those who like hot food. AITA. Not the asshole. Or she just needs to stop staying over at his place. It doesn't say they live together. It sounds like he is trying to make her not feel welcome and get her to leave. Not the asshole. And Piape saying why T.A. are ridiculous. It's not like you're demanding he make you certain dishes or you're an extremely picky eater. You can't handle spice. Which is a pretty normal thing, and there are lots of dishes he can make that are delicious and not spicy. I love cooking and also can't do anything too spicy, and I mail yummy stuff all the time. You guys split chores, he enjoys cooking, so yes, he should be open to meeting your very basic request. If he really wants these specific dishes, ask him to cook them once a week for himself and you cook for yourself that night or something. This is no different than if I served my tomato-hating husband tomatoes every single night. Why would I do that?